this is why I am taking the time to emphasize this today. That you see, communication in marriage is a skill. Please, I said when I first mentioned this that I don't want you to lose cognizance of this. I don't want you to forget it in a hurry. I don't want you to disdain it at all. I want you to remember constantly that communication in marriage is a skill. You need to be skillful in the art of communicating with your husband and your wife. Oftentimes, the reason why we fall into troubles, we hurt one another with our words, is because we are passively interacting with the components of communication in our marriage. It is because we are inactive. We are inactively engaging with the components of communication in our marriage. We think, is it not my wife? I know what she needs. Is it not my husband? I know him. And because of that, we are not making the effort to develop our know-how. And because this is the case, we find ourselves constantly wounding each other with words that we never meant to say. How many times have you heard a husband say, "I'm sorry, I never meant to say that"? How many times have you heard the wife say, "I am so sorry, that's not what I meant to say"? The reason why what we never meant to say drops from our mouth is because we are passively engaging with the components of communication in our marriage. But when we actively engage the components, when we actively engage the components of communication in our marriage, we find that, like that scripture in Isaiah 50:40, our tongue becomes the tongue of the learned. We speak words that are soothing, words that are not injurious in season to our spouses. Go and ask any wife that is harboring resentment for their husband. Go and ask them, and they will be able to point their finger at something or another he said. Go and ask a husband who is feeling, deflated. He will be able to point his finger at one or two things that his wife said to him. I want you to understand that communication in marriage is a skill. Never take it for granted. Never take it for granted. Never take for granted that communication in marriage is a skill.